on the Sports Talk Media Network. Coming up, scores and reports from across the state and analysis from David Shelton. The Scoreboard is brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax, you're with Founders. Now your host for the high school scoreboard, Phil Kornblut.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome into the high school football scoreboard playoff edition. First night of the playoffs here in South Carolina, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Well, if you're waiting on some earth-shattering news, something that will make you sit up and take notice about a major upset, so far, as far as the scores we've been able to run across, nothing like that. Everything's pretty much gone to chalk, as they say. The favorites are taking care of their business, which is usually the case in the opening round. You don't get a whole heck of a lot of real good matchups in round number one across the state. Maybe, one or two here or there. And we've had a couple of close games so far, but mostly the favored team, the higher seeded team, has taken care of business thus far in the opening round tonight of the playoffs. Coming up, we'll be joined by David Shelton of the High School Sports Report, get his thoughts on the results of tonight's games as we report on them. We'll also try and reach out to a number of coaches across the state and get their thoughts on their games. Of course, the coaches we'll be talking to will be victorious because, let's face it, the last thing you want to do if your season's come to an end is talk to the media on the radio about your loss. So we'll be talking to some happy coaches as we go on through the night here. Pat Daniel is back in our Columbia studio. I'm actually on the road headed to Louisville for Clemson and Louisville tomorrow night. So let's give you the scores that we have in and been able to plot on our sheets thus far. We'll take it class by class as we move across the state, upper and lower state. So we begin in the 5A playoffs in the upper state, and Hillcrest beat Riverside 56-24. So the Warriors, who started off so well this season, but as David Shelton pointed out when we talked about them during the season, schedule wasn't all that difficult for Riverside early on. Once they got into region play, it got a little more difficult, and then tonight ousted by a good Hillcrest team, 56-24. Gaffney had no trouble with Rock Hill tonight. The Indians win it big, 41-0. Northwestern, a winner over Boiling Springs, 52-7. In the lower state, Lexington shuts out Conway 24-0. And last night, Fort Dorchester was a winner over Berkeley. In the 4A playoffs, in the upper state, Greenville 55, Walhalla 22. Greenville's going to be a tough out, likely to be playing AC Flora next week once we get that Flora score in against Indian Land. That'd be a heck of a second-round matchup. Westside squeaks out a win over Greer. This is one of the games that we thought would be a tight one, and it turned out to be the case with the Rams getting the win over the Yellow Jackets 24-21. Irmo, those Yellow Jackets, they got a win tonight. They defeated the Cougars of York 21-10, and Catawba Ridge a 28-20 winner over Westwood. In the lower state, North Augusta over Bluffton 31-12, and North Myrtle Beach has beaten May River 27-7. Those are in the 4A playoffs. 3A playoffs in the lower state. Ainer beat Orangeburg Wilkinson 16-14. Dillon shut out Fox Creek 32-0. In the 2A playoffs, in the upper state, Chesterfield, big winner over Columbia 40-0. In the lower state, excuse me, Cheraw holds off a game effort by Latta. This one went right to the wire. The Braves win it 43-0. And Wade Hampton of Hampton over Lake Marion 20-14. In the 1A playoffs, in the upper state, Great Falls 28, Dixie 21, Lamar 30, Blackville Hilda 18. In the lower state, Bamberg Earhart over Hannah Pamplico, final score there of 26-22. Skeeza in 2A Skeeza, Williamsburg Academy defeats Hilton Head Prep 49-16. Now to catch up on some other scores we haven't had a chance to put down on the sheets, but we can give you the scores. Hammond in Skeeza 3A defeats First Baptist 31-0. Woodruff, a big winner over Southside, 55-7. That would be for Woodruff. That would be a win. And the let's see, I want to make sure I got the right got him in the right spot here on my sheet. Woodruff advances. Yeah, that would be in the 3A playoffs. The Wolverines, big winners over Southside, 55-7. Philip Simmons having a great year, relatively new school, and they dispatched Mullins tonight, 41-6. Buford over South Florence, 30-14. So what was a promising season for South Florence with their excellent quarterback comes to an end with a loss to Buford, 30-14. PD Academy over John Paul II, 48-16. That's in the SCISA playoffs. Also in the SCISA playoffs, Lee Academy 34, Dorchester Academy 14. Back to the high school league, Chapin big over Carolina Forest, 50-14. Newberry advances with a 43-7 win over Landrum. So Coach Phil Strickland lives to coach another game. You know, he's retiring at the end of this season. Gray Collegiate, no trouble with North Central, 56-0. And Lawrence, a big winner over Easley tonight, 56-13. Myrtle Beach, no trouble with Midland Valley, 56-19. And Dutch Fork, easily over Socastee, 56-0. Abbeville, as expected, big winner over Blacksburg, 41-0. Hartsville has got the big score of the night so far. Red Foxes put 70 on the board against Airport, and they win at 70-13. Ridge Spring Monetta 48, Whitmire nothing. Also, Greenwood over Pickens 49-3. By the way, I want to thank SC Sports Source on Twitter at SC Sports Source for aggregating the scores across the state tonight and throughout the football season. They do a great job. And let's see. I think that is what we have been thus far. Do another recheck here real quick, see if anything new has come in. Stratford, a winner over West Ashley, 40-24. That game just went final a little bit ago. I think that's the game David Shelton was at, so he can give us details on that when he joins us in just a little bit. South Point defeats Richland Northeast 42-12. Sumter over White Knoll 28-8. Barnwell beat Marion 51-40. Ridgeview 46, Clover 14, Woodland 38, Andrews 6. Burns, good ball game here. Burns over Malden 30-20. Big offensive night for Crescent. Crescent defeats Chesney 68-35. Great Falls knocks off Dixie in a close one, 28-21. Another close one. Hanahan 31, Lakewood. Hanahan 31, Lakewood 28. Christchurch no trouble with Batesburg Leesville 38-7. Final score there. Saluda defeats Andrew Jackson 38-14. Thomas Jefferson 36, Augusta Prep 8, and that's in SCISA. West Florence over James Island 38-15. Okay, I think that's everything for the scores that SC Sports Source has gotten in at this point. Let me do another quick double check, see if there's anything else new that's come in. Yep, here's another one. Daniel 52, Keenan 6, and Oceanside Collegiate 31, Lake City nothing, and Brooklyn Casey 33, Waccamaw nothing. So now you're up to date on the scores that have come into us here on the high school football scoreboard. Phil Kornblut on the road and Pat Daniel at our studios in downtown Columbia. So let's go to the phones. We appreciate everybody calling in to give us reports. Always love to hear from the guys who are out actually doing the heavy lifting in the fields. We welcome in the Hall of Fame play-by-play announcer for the Newberry Bulldogs from WKDK in his final season. Can't believe this, Jimmy. Final season of doing high school football after 40 years of calling games all across South Carolina. Congratulations to you, my friend.
Thank you very much. That's the plan anyway. So, but as you just mentioned, Coach Phil Strickland will coach one more game at least.
And you will call one more game at least.
That's exactly right. No trouble for the Bulldogs tonight. They led 36-0 at halftime. Their defense just smothered Landrum, and they finally win it by the score 43-7. And I won't go into all the scoring details, but I think Landrum had 8 yards of total offense in the first half, and I think most of that came on one pass play. Newberry just didn't let them do anything. They had 125 yards of total offense for the whole game. Newberry racked up 266, and just was Newberry all the way. In fact, halfway through the third quarter and all the fourth quarter, the Bulldogs used a bunch of JV players and ninth graders. So good win for Coach Strickland and the Bulldogs, 43-7 the final.
Absolutely. How's this team look moving forward in the playoffs, you think?
Well, they're going to Chesterfield, apparently. You just mentioned Chesterfield with almost the same kind of score against Columbia. So I'm looking for a pretty good matchup, but Newberry will be on the road there. So we'll see what happens. They're on a good side of the bracket, though, if you look at it that way, because all the big hitters are on the other side. So sooner or later, you got to come up and play one of those. But I think Newberry's on a good side of the bracket. So we'll see what happens.
Big weekend for you because you got the Newberry Wolves tomorrow afternoon at Setzler Field in a huge game for them.
Yeah, very, very big. Newberry, as you know, is ranked 7th in the Southeast Region poll right now. Mars Hill, the only team that's beat Newberry in the conference, is at 6. 7 teams go, and a win over Wingate tomorrow and perhaps finishing up with a win over Limestone. That should do it, but tomorrow first, and it's a very big football game.
It is. Good luck. Thank you for calling us tonight and reporting, and we'll look for you next week.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Phil.
Thank you very much, Jimmy Coggins. Let's go to Monty Dutton, the full Monty on the Clinton Red Devils. Saw Monty up in Lawrence yesterday. He's looking mighty fine. And big win for the Red Devils tonight. Monty, you don't have to give us score for score. They beat Palmetto 77-14.
Yeah, they ran the clock solid during the fourth quarter. And obviously the details are pretty numerous. I know that G-Shun Copeland scored 3 of the first 4 Clinton scores, and the guy who was the player of the weekend for last week, he had 2 more defensive pick six and a long pass reception. So Clinton won. Clinton is now 10-1, and it's the best record in going on 2 decades because the 2009 state championship team was only 7-3 in the regular season. So it was it set a school record at Clinton. Clinton had beaten Woodmont 75-0 in either 70 or 71, and the record had stood that long. So 77-14, there's not much to say. All I got to say is if you're a photographer on the sideline, you can be really lazy because the odds are that if the team was at the other end of the field, it would come to you shortly.
Well, listen, Clinton has played great football all season long, and I got to believe that Coach Fountain, knowing they were big favorites, but had to like the way his guys went out and took care of business tonight. Didn't mess around with the team that they should handle the way they did.
Well, Clinton played with a backup quarterback, Austin Copeland, who has been a guy who has played a lot at quarterback. But Davis Wilson, the starting quarterback, who had a right high ankle sprain last week, I actually saw him, and he should be ready to come back next week against Lower Richland on the road. Hopkins, isn't that the name of the place where Lower Richland is?
Yes, it's in Hopkins, just outside of Columbia.
Well, I have gone through that area because thanks to Lawrence Academy's girls basketball team, I've spent more time in Camden at the SCISA playoffs in the last few years than the rest of my life put together in Camden. So,
well, enjoy your trip to Hopkins, and we'll look for you next
week. I just spoke wrong. That was Sumter. The Sumter Civic Center is where SCISA has playoffs.
That's right.
That's where I saw Zion McKinney play. Yeah.
Yeah, but you can go through Hopkins to go to Sumter.
Yes, that's my only contact since Mooney Player retired.
Hey, thank you. We'll talk to you next week.
Well, I hope I have a little more dramatic report for you next time. Probably will with the Diamond Hornets.
We just like to hear from you, regardless of the type of report it is.
Well, have a good time in Louisville.
Thank you, sir. Monty Dutton, the full Monty on the Clinton Red Devils, having a heck of a year. Spartanburg beat Woodmont 49-28. Aiken 25, Hilton Head 8. South Aiken 28, Wilson 14. Branchville beat Johnsonville 43-42. Have to ask David Shelton, when's the last time Branchville won a playoff game? Maybe it's happened recently. I can't recall. And those are the most recent scores in. Nope. Did I give this one? Oceanside Collegiate 31, Lake City nothing. Brooklyn Casey 33, Waccamaw nothing. I think we gave those earlier. So let's go to our break, and we'll come back with more reports. Coming up, Lane Harris with the story of the big win by Myrtle Beach tonight as the Seahawks took care of business against Midland Valley. We'll get the story on that. We'll get more reports from folks out in the fields and give you more scores, and David will be joining us as well in just a little bit. You're listening to South Carolina's only statewide high school football scoreboard, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Back in a moment.
Save like a pro with Founders Federal Credit Union. Founders Loyalty Select account gives you the opportunity to grow your savings at our best rate yet. Fund your account through your favorite Loyalty Select product to get savings today. Not a member yet? Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our more than 30 office locations to see if you qualify for membership. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
In Columbia, South Carolina, game days are our specialty. Whether you're watching the game from inside the stadium or from the big screen at your favorite local spot, the energy remains the same. Craft the perfect fall Saturday in a city where there is plenty of action on and off the field. From tubing and kayaking to Soda City to rooftop restaurants and plenty barbecue. We're ready when you are. Plan your weekend at experiencecolumbiasc.com.
COVID-19 booster shots are now available for those 65 and older, long-term care residents, and those 18 and older with underlying medical conditions or at high risk. See if you're eligible at scdhec.gov/COVID-19 booster. Keep fighting the spread. Wear your face mask. Stay 6 feet apart. And get vaccinated. Join us and fight the spread. Visit scdhec.gov/vaxfax.
Hi, this is Phil Kornblut, and for me, high school football Friday nights in the Palmetto State are electric. I want to know how all the teams in the state are doing. For that, I turn to scfootballstats.com. I've used scfootballstats.com for years as a resource, so I have all the scores and schedules right at my fingertips. And so can you. Never hunt for scores, standings, or rankings again. scfootballstats.com delivers weekly updates right to your inbox. Everything from your favorite teams, including Skiza, all in one place. Fan subscriptions are just $25 for a full season of access. Head over to scfootballstats.com right now for a free trial. That's scfootballstats.com. We continue with the high school football scoreboard, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union here on Sports Talk Media Network. Phil Kornblut's on the road. Pat Daniel back in Columbia. We'll update the scores for you. Go back over them once again if you're just joining us. Guess some games must have either kicked off a little bit earlier tonight, maybe 7 o'clock, or they were just played very, very quickly. Maybe they had more running clocks out there than normal because games got over in a hurry, it seems like, including this Myrtle Beach Midland Valley game. We welcome in the voice of Myrtle Beach High School football, Lane Harris, to tell us about the Seahawks' victory as they move on in the playoffs. Hello, Lane.
How you doing, Phil? Everybody
Good.
doing good tonight, I hope.
Yes, sir. Hope you are as well.
Yes, we are. Myrtle Beach on a 56-19 win tonight, and world record time. We finished the game at 9:08.
That's amazing.
So we had a continuous clock in the second half. Midland Valley, the Mustangs from Region 5 came down for about a 5-hour bus ride, and they must have got tired from the bus ride because the Seahawks jumped on them early and took the ball down the field and scored with a minute 48-second drive on the first possession. They came back and ran the kickoff back 60 yards and got a touchdown of their own, but after that, Seahawks ripped off 7 straight touchdowns.
And they did it mostly how? Through the air?
Well, it was a little bit of both. Ryan Berger, the senior quarterback headed to App State, was 13 of 14 for 180 yards and 4 touchdowns. Adam Randall was held in check, but not because I don't think it was because we didn't want to use him. He had 2 catches for 24 yards. But Jake Doty was the big baller tonight from the receiving end, 5 catches for 92 yards and a couple touchdowns. Kenny Brown had a 1 catch for 18 yards and a touchdown. And backup wide receiver Jason Nash had 2 catches for 25 yards and 2 touchdowns. Malachi Washington continued to improve his running game. He had 12 total touches tonight for 152 yards and a touchdown. Jason Owens' defense just completely smothered the Mustangs. They had negative offensive yards in the first half and only 2 first downs. And they added a couple of meaningless touchdowns in the fourth quarter to make it a 56-19 final.
Wow. All right. Great start for them. By the way, the Midland Valley team on its way to Myrtle Beach stopped in Columbia and went over to the USC practice facility and kind of did a little walkthrough there on their way down to Myrtle Beach. So maybe they left their mojo in Columbia.
Oh, there's been a lot of teams that left their mojo in Columbia recently, hasn't there?
Including the home team. Too much.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to.
Yes, I know. What's up next for the Seahawks?
Looks like Aiken. Aiken was pretty big over Hilton Head last we saw. So we're expecting an Aiken team to show up at Doug Shaw Stadium next Friday night as the Seahawks continue to stay at home for the playoffs. As long as we can keep winning, everybody's got to come to Myrtle Beach to win it.
Very good. Well, we thank you. Have a great game at Coastal Carolina tomorrow on the Chanticleer Network, and not at Coastal, but at Georgia Southern. And we will talk to you next week.
All right, we'll see you, Phil. Thanks for talking to me.
Thank you, Lane. Appreciate it very much. Let's go from Lane Harris to George Adams on the call. It was Shara and Latta. George, I got multiple reports on this ball game. You know, I was tuned in, paying close attention, and understand this one went right to the wire. Could have gone either way there in the fourth quarter.
You were wrong, Camel Breath.
43-0, the Braves win.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. The Viking ship be sunk.
Yes, it was.
That
happens.
29-0 at the half, and at the half, Latta's average gain per offensive play was 0.3. I don't even know how to say this. 0.3 yards per snap.
In other words, less than a yard.
Less than a yard. I don't think I've ever seen it, but I seen it tonight. Cold night at Mickeljohn Field. I had a cup of hot chocolate. I didn't know whether to drink it or pour it down my pants.
Well, you know, whatever makes you happy.
Don't ask which one I did. You might not like the answer too much.
Right.
29-0 at the half. And Latta, and I'm not picking on Latta quite frankly. No. But they didn't get their first down until about 3.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. So the Braves, this Braves team has in the last 3 weeks really kind of gotten their stuff together, and they're playing very teamwork football. They seem to like each other a whole lot now. They support each other. And last 3 games have been outstanding, and we will face either maybe you have a score, Timberland or Pillion.
I don't have a score. I would put my money on Timberland, but do not have that score in yet, I don't think. Let me double check here and see if no, we don't have that in yet, but you stay tuned to the scoreboard, and we'll have it for you here in a little bit.
Twist my arm, and I'll do it. Oh, that hurts. Okay, I'll listen.
All right. And, you know, if you get cold again, just pour some more hot chocolate down your pants. That seems to do the trick for you. That's good to know.
A little song, a little dance, a little chocolate down your pants.
Okay, George. Thank you very much.
Take care, guys.
Nothing like George Adams on a Friday night, especially a cold Friday night when he's having to self-heat, I guess we could say. All right. Thank you, George. Coming up after the break, Doug Holliday with the story of the Lawrence big win tonight over Easley, and we'll get more reports to you. We'll go back over the scores as we get our sheets up to date, and eventually David Shelton will join in. We're back in just a couple of moments. Don't go away.
Are you from California, Illinois, New York, Georgia, or any of the other 39 states that charge state income tax? Does your state claim you owe them any amount of back taxes? Or have you not filed in years? Is your heart pounding because you know they're wrong or you just don't have the money? Don't fight the state income tax board alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you. The state is much more aggressive than the IRS in collecting taxes. They have the power to take your home, your car, your driver's and business licenses, even garnish your wages, freeze your bank accounts, and go after your spouse. Solve all your income tax problems permanently and keep more of your hard-earned money. Make this 100% guaranteed risk-free call right now.
800-668-2493. 800-668-2493. 800-668-2493. That's 800-668-2493.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters. The attorneys general of 26 states have filed federal lawsuits challenging a vaccine mandate for employers issued by the Biden administration. They generally contend that the authority to compel vaccinations rests with the states, not the federal government. The new mandate applies to private employers with at least 100 workers. The Biden administration says it is confident its requirement will withstand the challenges, but legal experts are divided over which side is likely to prevail. Several businesses also joined the lawsuits filed Friday, saying they don't want to insert themselves into their employees' health care decisions. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 203 points, the NASDAQ rose 31, the S&P 500 advanced 17. More on these stories at srnnews.com.
Now, who could that be?
It's Dominion Energy. I signed us up for a home energy checkup. It's time we learn how to save energy and money.
Well, how much does it cost?
Not a dime, it's free, and it only takes about an hour. Plus, we get a report on things we can do to make our home more energy efficient.
I don't know. Sounds too good to be true.
No. See for yourself at DominionEnergySC.com.
Where?
DominionEnergySC.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
For many years, I've bragged about the great work Stone Interiors does in the home. And brag's the right word, because before I endorsed Stone Interiors, I was a customer first. That means I've been through the same process you can go through. Lainey and I visited the showroom. We were in awe of the selection as we wanted a unique granite look for our kitchen. We got that for our countertop. We found something special. The team at Stone Interiors put the plan in motion. They came out, they installed the granite that we've been loving and beaming about ever since. When folks visit our home, inevitably, we end up in the kitchen talking and someone comments about the granite, from its look to its texture. So is it time to enjoy some new granite, marble, or quartz? Do you need a beautiful new backsplash in the kitchen? What about a new fireplace or an outdoor kitchen? Stone Interiors has taken great care of folks in the Midlands for 20 years. They're locally owned and operated. That's essential. You can visit the showroom, do a virtual appointment if you want, whatever you're comfy with. Visit stoneinteriors.com or give them a call, 461-8950. And, of course, tell them you heard about it from The Point.
Have you fallen behind on your taxes and might be facing IRS penalties? Have wage garnishments, levies, or liens? Have unfiled tax returns? You want someone local and qualified. Don't fall for those national spots. Meet with me, Teresa, at Capital City Professional Services, and let me help you through your tax maze. I can help with all your tax resolution issues. There are options to get you back on track. Call Capital City Professional Services, 400-8683. That's 400-8683.
Hundreds of thousands of people have said goodbye to their overpriced Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile plans and switched to Pure Talk on the same great 5G coverage as one of those carriers. Get unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data for just $30 a month. The average family is saving over $800 a year. Just dial pound 250 and say Jill50 to save 50% off your first month. That's pound 250. Say Jill50.
500,000 businesses connect using Zoom, a single platform for video, phone, chat, and conference rooms. Zoom enables real-time collaboration no matter where your teams are. Global enterprises trust the easy-to-use, reliable, and secure Zoom platform to power high-performance teams. Empower your workforce with Zoom. Save 15% on meetings, chat, and phone with a Zoom United bundle. Visit zoom.com/bundle. Zoom, how the world connects.
Okay, a bunch of new scores have come in. Let's give those to you here on the high school football scoreboard. Then back to our reporters out in the fields tonight. But we want to catch you up on everything as it is coming in. And again, thanks to SC Sports Source for doing a great job of aggregating the high school football scores. So, Southside Christian beats Williston Elko 48-0. And Timberland, we talked about this and projected Timberland to win. And indeed, Timberland a winner over Pelion, 39-0. St. Joseph's over 96, 62-21. Cane Bay 23, Ashley Ridge 20. That was in overtime. And you know what they get? You know what they get? They get to play Dutch Fork next week. Thank you very much. Be careful what you wish for. Camden 56, Bishop England nothing. Lower Richland will play Clinton, as Monty suggested, 27-21 LR over Seneca. Wren beat Fairfield Central big, 45-13. How about this shootout? Powdersville 45, Broome 44. Green Sea Floyds beat Allendale Fairfax 33-16. Chester over Belton Honeypath 42-28. Chapman 63, Blue Ridge 35. AC Flora over Indian Land 34-10. Goose Creek, I think we have to consider this an upset, but David can tell us more. Goose Creek over Somerville, 41-27. How about this one? And we'll get a report coming up in overtime. T.L. Hanna defeats Dorman 41-35. Probably the game of the night right there, and that ends the season for the Cavaliers, who've had a tough year. They lose a tough one tonight to T.L. Hanna, 41-35. Spartanburg over Woodmont, 49-28. I think we gave you that one. Also, Aiken over Hilton Head, 25-8. So we have given you all the scores that have been available. So with that being done, in a little bit, we'll go back through the scores class by class, so we can match up next week's games as we go through it. Let's welcome in Doug Holliday on the call tonight for the Lawrence-Easley game on our affiliate, WLBG, up in Lawrence. Doug, good to have you with us. And Raiders having a good year, and they move on.
Well, I tell you, Phil started 1-3, now 6-3, won 5 in a row, and went on the road tonight. Started off a little sluggish. We're down 6-0 to Easley late in the first quarter, but in the final 15 minutes of the first half, put 42 on the board, took a 42-6 halftime lead, and cruised 56-13. I tell you, great performance tonight. He's been good all year, but our junior quarterback, James Rawle Jr., he was 15 of 19 for 413 yards, 6 touchdown passes, 3 to Jay Pulley, 3 to Jaden McGowan, and he ran for another one. He was sensational tonight, and now we hit the road to take on South Point next Friday night.
And that will be a really good one. You know, people might not remember this, but early in the year, Lawrence was hit really hard with the COVID situation. You guys, you missed some games. You were kind of late getting going because of it. And then we all know once you deal with COVID, and maybe you've had players who've had COVID, you just don't come back 100%. It takes a while to get yourself back up to steam. And you think now you're over this winning streak that you're talking about, you think your guys have kind of overcome all that and are kind of getting back to where they were pre-COVID?
Yeah, I think that's all behind them. And even between the years, Phil, I mean, the first game lost to Hannah by 6. Second week lost to Clinton by 2. Just felt snake bit the first couple of weeks. And then the boy, once they've kicked it into gear and gotten healthy, it's been impressive.
Oh, it certainly has been. And you got some good players. And you mentioned McGowan, the speedster who's headed to Vanderbilt. And
right.
how would you classify his season overall?
Fantastic. He can catch the ball. He can run the ball. I mean, you get him the ball anywhere in some space and you're in trouble. He can just flat out run people. But he's also quick side to side. He's got quick feet. He doesn't just have speed. He's elusive. He plays a little bit of defense. Plays on special teams. He's blocked a couple of kicks. off the corner this year. He's an all-around player. Vanderbilt is getting a good one.
Yeah. Think he'll excel at Vanderbilt? I mean, considering they're in a major rebuilding process, they need talent, they need speed. Is he the kind of guy that can go in there and help make a difference?
Oh, I think so. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, Doug, thank you, man. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Phil.
Thank you. All right. So now Lawrence, after dealing with a lot of stuff early on, playing good football, a team to watch as we head into the second round of the playoffs. Tonight, you were there. At
A good win for Denny McDaniel's squad. You know, they've only played 7 games in the regular season. This is their 8th game, and they improved to 4-4. But they've won some games here late. Got a win over Berkeley late in the season, and have really put together their sophomore quarterback Jalen Berry. You might remember his dad was Darrell Berry that played tight end at Clemson. Well, this young man is about 6'3", and began the season kind of not really good, and has really caught fire and gained confidence. Tonight he threw for right at 300 yards, had 5 touchdown passes. The Knights rolled up a bunch of passing yards. West Ashley rolled up a bunch of rushing yards, and Stratford's defense pitched a shutout in the second half. They were down 24-14 in the second quarter. They got ahead on 2 more touchdowns in the second quarter, go up at the half by 4, and then tacked on 2 touchdowns. And like I said, the defense really stood up. It's a young team. They've only got 7 seniors, and they've got a freshman running back that's pretty good, and they got a sophomore receiver along with this sophomore quarterback. You know, I think Sumter will be a tremendous challenge, but as Denny McDaniel said, you know, he's in year 4 of his program, and any experience gained in the postseason is going to benefit them, these young guys, and so they're advanced and go to the second round.
Yeah, you're exactly right. The more experience you can get playing in these pressure games, these big games, you're going to benefit from that down the road. Here's another final that's come in, and Spring Valley defeated Nation Ford tonight, 32-24. It was a 7-all tie, and then 13-7 Spring Valley at the half. They went up 19-7. It became 19-17, and actually was 26-24. And then the Vikings put the game away with a touchdown in the final minutes to make it 32-24. Spring Valley's having a good year, David, and that's a good win for them in Columbia at Harry Perone Stadium. A good playoff win for them to get them to the second round.
Absolutely, they've had a really good year. You know, this is a pretty good Nation 4 team. They beat. Wasn't a walkover, as we talked about on Sports Talk. You know, they had to play, and they did, and they executed very well offensively, obviously. And you know, they're moving to the second round, and this is where they'll get tested again. They've been tested a couple of times during the regular season, survived most of those tests, and so you go to the second round, and it's get it done or pack it up, go home.
Win or go home. Carver's Bay has beaten St. John's 55-22, and Well Branch over East Clarendon 19-0. Lakeview beat Estill 46-6, and Southside Christian over Wilson Elko 48-0. Pillion 39-0. After our next break, we'll go through the scores because we've just about got everything plotted. David, earlier tonight, we had a score where Branchville defeated Johnsonville in the 1A playoffs 43-42. Heck of a ball game, 43-42. And I just was wondering out loud, and I said I'd ask you. You would probably know. I mean, I don't recall Branchville winning many playoff games in recent years. Is this a rare occurrence for the Branchville team to win a playoff game?
Oh, yeah. yeah, it's a rare occurrence and it's a good win. You know, Johnsonville is a team that has scored points all year long. They scored on just about everybody they played, but they had some issues defensively. And so, yeah, to answer your question, this is a huge win for Branchville. Johnsonville is a classic traditional 1A program. Branchville has had some lean years. They've had some good years regular season wise, but they, playing the good competition, they've had trouble. And so this is a good win for them, and they'll move on, to second round.
All right, very good. Let's go to the break, and when we come back, we will go through the scores, classification by classification, and get David's take on some of the tighter games of the night. We've actually had a few very competitive games, handful of blowouts, but some competitive games as well. So we'll hit that up on the other side of the break, and we'll get more reports in, I would expect. And we'll start hitting up some of the happy coaches who are going home with a playoff victory tonight. This is the High School Scoreboard, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union.
Relax on and off the field with Founders Federal Credit Union. With services like Founders Online and the Founders app, you'll enjoy all the perks of a big bank with local personalized service. If you're looking for low rates, look to Founders. Not a member? Joining Founders Federal Credit Union is easy. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our more than 30 office locations to see if you qualify for membership. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
Parents ask, what's the best way to save for college? I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus, and my answer is always open a Future Scholar 529 college savings account. It's easy. You can get started online with any amount. It's flexible to adapt to your child's college dreams. And you can deduct 100% of your contributions from the South Carolina state tax return. So what are you waiting for? Go to futurescholar.com and see why it's the smart, easy way to save for college. Futurescholar.com.
Hi, this is Phil Kornblut, and for me, high school football Friday nights in the Palmetto State are electric. And I want to know how all the teams in the state are doing. For that, I turn to scfootballstats.com. I've used scfootballstats.com for years as a resource, so I have all the scores and schedules right at my fingertips. And so can you. Never hunt for scores, standings, or rankings again. scfootballstats.com delivers weekly updates right to your inbox. Everything from your favorite teams, including Skeeza, all in one place. Fan subscriptions are just $25 for a full season of access. Head over to scfootballstats.com right now for a free trial. That's scfootballstats.com.
I learned that people are just looking for somebody to listen to them. You can't just start cutting somebody's hair and you're going to be quiet the whole time because you're not going to be in business long.
The South Carolina Education Lottery has provided over $800 million to help students attend technical colleges across our state, investing in a new generation of entrepreneurs, just like James. Your passion is our purpose.
We understand how important it is to have transportation you can rely on. So no matter what the road ahead brings, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for nearly 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. Learn more at scfbins.com.
In Irmo, call me, Alex Satterfield, at 803-749-9171.
We are back on the high school football scoreboard on this Friday night across South Carolina. Good to have you with us. Brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Let's catch you up on all the scores. If you're just tuning in, you've been out watching a game or just doing something, and you haven't heard the scores, we're going to take you through them. Upper state, lower state, 5A through Skeeza. And then David can comment on some of these better games. So in the upper state, 5A, Hillcrest beat Riverside 56-24, Ridgeview 46, Clover 14, Spartanburg beat Woodmont 49-28. David, the Spartanburg Vikings, much like the Spring Valley Vikings, but the Spartanburg Vikings, who will play the Spring Valley Vikings next week, they seem to be getting better by the week. I remember them kind of struggling early on. Maybe it was the competition, but recently they've been rolling. Do we have David?
Season. So, then they, I can guarantee you this: a Vikings is going to advance to the third round next week.
This is true. This is true. We've missed your opening comments there. What'd you say at the very beginning?
Oh, I said they opened. They won that region. They beat Dorman. They beat Burns. So they kind of got better as the season went on. And this was a game. Honestly, they should have won, and they did. I mean, it was not an upset, but it gets tougher for them as they move forward, and we'll see how far they can go.
Okay, let's continue. We've got, as I mentioned, Spring Valley beat Nation Ford, 32-24. Gaffney, no trouble with Rock Hill, 41-0. Boy, David, I tell you, Rock Hill, how far away are they from becoming competitive once again at the level that they enjoyed for so many years?
Well, I think they're still a ways from getting back to that point, but they've been competitive in some games. They weren't going to beat Gaffney tonight. I mean, Gaffney's probably the best team in the upper state, so this was just a bad matchup for them. But they won a few games, and they've had trouble beating the really good teams. But they're still a ways off from being what they were back in the 90s, 80s and 90s.
Okay, Gaffney advances 41-0. In overtime, David, TL Hanna and Dorman, heck of a ball game. We should be getting a report on this. In fact, why don't we do it right now? TL Hanna beats Dorman, ends Dorman's season in overtime 41-35. And Bob Corlew joins us to give us the details on the Cavaliers' win over TL Hanna from our affiliate up in Woodruff, Spartanburg, WQUL. Bob, good to have you with us once again. And
hey, Phil. Good evening.
Cavaliers put up a fight but came up short in OT.
Oh, it was a great game. TL Hanna defeated Dorman 41-35 in overtime. It was a game that was very close statistically also. TL Hanna scored first and led 7-0 with an 8-play, 55-yard drive. But then Hanna had a short punt, and Dorman scored almost immediately on a 41-yard pass play, and it was all tied at 7 points apiece. Dorman was going down the field, and you thought Dorman was getting ready to score and go ahead, but they fumbled 11 yards from the goal line. Then TL Hanna marched 89 yards down the field to take a 14-7 lead. Dorman then had a sustained drive of 49 yards to tie the game with 15 seconds to go in the first half, and it was all knotted at 14 points apiece at halftime. TL Hanna came out on the first drive of the third quarter then and scored a touchdown on an 80-yard drive and led Dorman 21-14, but then Dorman scored with 5:44 to go in the third quarter, and it was 21-21. Dorman then scored on a 65-yard drive capped by a 24-yard run, and Dorman then led 28-21. Hanna returned a kickoff, though, all the way down to the Dorman 26 with a 70-yard kickoff return, and then scored, but TL Hanna missed the extra point as Dorman blocked the extra point kick, and Dorman led 28-27. Dorman then scored on a 27-yard pass play, which capped an 80-yard drive in 4 plays, and Dorman led 35-27. Hanna then answered with a 17-yard run, which capped an 80-yard drive, and then Hanna completed a 2-point conversion to tie the game at 35-all. Dorman's starting quarterback, Talley, though, left the game at that point following an injury and did not return. Hanna tried an onside kick at that point, but Dorman recovered the ball on the 47-yard line and then drove all the way down to about the 20 and attempted a field goal, but that field goal was blocked with about 2 minutes and 8 seconds left to play in regulation. Hannah got the ball then, but did not score on their next drive. Dorman got the ball again and drove down this time to about the 25-yard line and again attempted a field goal with 14 seconds remaining in regulation, but that field goal attempt was wide and the clock ran out and the game was all tied at 35 points apiece at the end of regulation. In overtime, T.L. Hannah scored a touchdown, then attempted a two-point conversion, which failed. But T.L. Hannah led 41-35. Dorman then was unable to score on 4 downs, and the game ended, and T.L. Hannah was the winner over Dorman 41-35. It was a thriller.
Oh, it certainly was. And I mean, back and forth. Tough way for Dorman to end the season, but it was kind of a year like that for Dorman all year. Basically, close but no cigar in a lot of cases.
Right you are. In just about every game, now there was one game, I think, with Fort Dorchester where, honestly, Dorman really was never in that game. But other than that one game, you felt like Dorman could have won, and in several of those games, Dorman could have won, you felt. But Dorman was ahead late in the game and then somehow snatched the defeat from the jaws of victory and came out on the losing end.
All right, my man. Well, listen, are you going to shift over to Woodruff for us now moving forward, or what's the deal?
I'm hoping. I did not have the score. I've got the score on Woodruff. Woodruff won over Southside 55-7. I'm hoping Garrett Mitchell. Garrett was at that game, and I'm hoping he will be able to call in. I've talked to him earlier this evening, and I think he's planning on making a call as well. But a big win for Woodruff over Southside 55-7. A game that really Southside honestly was never in that game. Woodruff really dominated that 3A playoff game.
Okay, Bob, as always, we really appreciate it. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you soon. And thanks for all the reports all season long. Great stuff.
Hey, Phil, I've enjoyed it. Have a great night. Be listening to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Bob Corlew with the story on Dorman. So, David, where does Dorman go from here going into next year? First of all, what's the confidence level that Coach Gutshaw will return next year? Is he still interested in coaching, or is he reaching that point where he's ready to?
I have not heard anything about him just being his last year. I mean, I guess it's possible, but he had some pretty good underclassmen. It was a tough year for them. They played a very tough schedule, lost a lot of close games. They played Fort Dorchester down here. I saw them, and they were without like 15 players due to COVID and injury. So it was just one of those years. And Dorman's Dorman. They're going to be back. And as far as I know, Coach Gutshaw will be back for another one.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we were doing the scores in the Upper State 5A. So Dorman, Hannah wins it overtime, 41-35. What a ball game. Northwestern over Boiling Springs, 52-7, and Burns tops Malden, 30-20. In the Lower State 5A, Dutch Fork, no trouble, 56-0 over Socastee. I'm expecting that Chris Bergen will give us a report on that here in a little bit. In overtime, Cane Bay 23, Ashley Ridge 20, Sumter 28, White Knoll 8, Stratford 40, West Ashley 24. David, Goose Creek 41, Somerville 27. We put that in the upset department?
No. Goose Creek should have beat Somerville. They lost to them earlier in the year and should have beat them then. But Somerville has struggled down the stretch. They've lost. I guess this will be their third straight loss. Goose Creek was favored to win this game. They're a region champion. Somerville was a fourth place team in their region. So Somerville will be back, though. They've got some good young players.
All right, we'll hit the break and give you more scores. Be back.
7 to 9 on the point. It's Kev and Brian in the morning. The news, the traffic 4 times an hour, and your daily forecast. Topics to wake you up, topics to make you smile and laugh. Hope you'll join us.
The Point. The Point.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. House Democrats put off an expected House vote on their 10-year, $1.85 trillion social and environment measure. The decision Friday came as infighting between progressives and moderates once again sidetracked the legislation. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says some House members want to see numbers from the Congressional Budget Office before voting on the social services bill.
Should take another week or so to get the numbers that they're requesting. As I don't know, that's how long it takes. And as we do, then we'll have a Thanksgiving gift for the American people.
But House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy says voters sent Democrats a clear message on Tuesday.
Stop catering to the progressive left and work on solutions that will improve the lives of your constituents.
Correspondent Rita Foley reports on what we know about the number of intelligence officers who have refused to get vaccinated.
The Office of the Director of National Intelligence isn't saying how many members of the intelligence community are not vaccinated. A Republican member of the House Intelligence Committee, Congressman Chris Stewart, says the number is as high as 40% in some agencies. The deadline to get the shots or face possible dismissal is November 22nd.
The shooting of 2 suspected drug dealers at a resort on Mexico's Caribbean coast is part of a fight among dozens of gangs to carve up the lucrative market of selling drugs to tourists and locals. The chief prosecutor of the coastal state of Quintana Roo said the 2 main gangs are fighting for control of Puerto Morelos, just south of Cancun. Thursday's shooting occurred on a beach just yards from luxury hotels. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 203 points. The Nasdaq rose 31. More at townhall.com.
First, we decide where we want to go. Then we need to know the best way to get there. Hi, my name's Adam Barada. I'm the owner of Advantage Gold. We're the highest rated precious metals firm in the country. We teach people how to own physical gold and silver. Now, we've won the Best of TrustLink Award 4 years in a row because we educate our clients on how to buy gold and silver the right way. We don't pay celebrity spokespeople millions of dollars. We'd rather pass that value on to you. Call 800-900-8000 and speak with one of our experts. We'll send you a free gold kit along with my latest #1 national best-selling book, The Great Devaluation. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000. Get the best information, the best process, the best service, the best value. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000.
The trial of 3 white men accused in the slaying of Ahmaud Arbery has begun in Brunswick, Georgia. There's only 1 black juror in the case. The 3 armed men armed themselves and pursued Arbery in a pickup truck, with one of them recording video of the fatal shooting. Superior Court Judge Timothy Walmsley tells Court TV he does not have the power to change the jury panel, even though because of the exclusion of potential black jurors from the defense team, it's now a mainly white panel.
Quite a few African-American jurors were excused through preemptory strikes exercised by the defense. But that doesn't mean that the court has the authority to reseat simply, again, because there's this prima facie case, because we see it.
A truck driver who ousted the powerful New Jersey Senate president in the election apologized for social media posts. More at townhall.com.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
As an organ donor, your story doesn't have to end. The good in you can live on. In fact, you could save up to 8 lives and restore sight and health for many more. Sign up right now online as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. You'll be happy you did. And just maybe, someone else will be happy too. Go to organdonor.gov. It saves lives. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
Ooh, you shouldn't have pressed that button. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Now you get this.
This is the Founders Federal High School Football Scoreboard on the Sports Talk Media Network. Coming up, scores and reports from across the state and analysis from David Shelton. The Scoreboard is brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax, you're with Founders. Now your host for the High School Scoreboard, Phil Kornblut.
All right, welcome back, everybody. The High School Football Scoreboard brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Phil Kornblut, Pat Daniel, and David Shelton on this Friday night. First Friday night of the playoffs here in South Carolina. And no shocking upsets, I would say. A few close games, as we just heard. That T.O. Hannah-Dorman game, overtime, probably the best game of the night in the playoffs in South Carolina. Had a few other close ones, but that was a real nail-biter. And we'll get back into the scores here in just a moment. In fact, let me finish did I do all the 5As? I think we stopped with Goose Creek and Somerville, 41-27 Goose Creek. Let me finish these last three 5A games. Lexington over Conway, 24-0. Fort Dorchester beat Berkeley, 39-13. And Chapin over Carolina Forest, 50-14. What a team and what a year the Eagles have had, and really good team with an excellent young quarterback. All right, we'll go back over the scores here in a little bit in the rest of the classes and to get more commentary from David on all of that. We've got some folks waiting to give us reports, including Garrett Mitchell, who we were talking about earlier from Bob Corlew, and he's got the story for Woodruff and Southside. Big win for the Wolverines tonight, Garrett. Now they win 55-7 over Southside.
Right, and it was a big-time performance for Woodruff, and I would venture to say, Phil, probably their most complete game of the year. And it's funny, I was actually on the line waiting, listening to Bob Corlew. So, Bob, if you're still listening, asking you shall receive. But it was a game over in Greenville. It got out of hand for Southside very quickly. Woodruff received the opening kickoff, and I'm not sure if I've mentioned this. This was the first time since September of 2018 that Woodruff has started a game on offense. They had been on defense first 34 consecutive times. And just a remarkable stat, really. But the Wolverines knew what to do with it. They took it down the field starting at the 45, scored in 6 plays, and Southside fumbled it right back on their second offensive snap, took Woodruff 1 play, and they were at 14-0 3 minutes into the ball game. And from there, it was really just, a matter of maybe playing a little bit conservative. You were still scoring easily, and you got through it with no major injuries or bump ups. And Woodruff quarterback Carson Tucker, very efficient night, 13 of 20, 189, 3 touchdowns. And Woodruff running back DeMarion Elmore, he had 99 yards and 3 touchdowns. Elmore has rushed for 1,000 yards and 16 touchdowns over his last 6 ball games. And he's been picking them up, putting them down. So a great night for the Wolverines, a running clock in the 4th quarter. The backups even got a touchdown tonight. And now Woodruff takes to the road again, and they'll take on 3A number 1 ranked Daniel. So that was the importance of getting that number 2 seed out of Region 3. Of course, that went to Clinton. So now the Wolverines definitely have a tall task ahead of them if they travel over to Clemson next Friday night.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be a heck of a ball game. What do you think? I mean, what's your early take on the matchup? I know you haven't done a heck of a lot of homework on it yet, but what's your plan? What do you think the matchup looks like?
Phil, I tell you what, I'm not even quite sure where to begin, because just when you look at the raw numbers on the surface, Daniel is very, very good. They'll come into the matchup 10-0. They're averaging 46, right at 47 points per ball game, and they're giving up just shy of 10. I believe they come in, they're giving up about 9.8 points per game through tonight. So Woodruff will have to play a mistake-free ball game, and Coach Bradley Adams has really leaned on the running game to set up the pass, and that's been a formula that's worked well during the offensive resurgence since Carson Tucker returned back on October the 2nd. And it's been a good look for the Wolverines. It's been a good scheme, and they'll have to continue blocking well up front. against a Daniel team that, look, let's face it, you've got the youngest of Dabo Swinney's sons as a top receiver. You've got Eli Merck, the junior, who is approaching 1,000 yards. And you've got Trent Kierman at quarterback, the son of Clemson coach Danny Kierman. Well, look, on the other side of the ball, you've got Brody Kahn, son of Mickey Kahn, is the starting safety. And at defensive end, you've got Shaheem Lawson, who is a college prospect. If that name sounds familiar, he's the younger brother of former Clemson standout Shaq Lawson. So the connection there is very strong. Daniel, ranked number 1 for a reason. They're the defending state champs with 18 starters back from last year. And frankly, it's David versus Goliath. But as we've seen in the world of sports, I'm a big-time Atlanta Braves fan. So nobody gave them a shot either. So it's all about how you play and who's hot on any given night. We'll see how it shakes out next Friday.
You got that right, Garrett. Thank you, man. We appreciate it. Talk to you next week.
All right, Phil, David, appreciate you guys. We'll talk soon.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Garrett Mitchell, story on Woodruff's win over Southside 55-7. Let's go to the veteran voice of the Sumter Gamecocks, Kevin Ireland. The Gamecocks. We don't talk enough about the Gamecocks. They beat White Knoll 28-8 to advance in the 5A playoffs, and going to move on to take on Stratford next week. So that's good. You don't have to play Dutch Fork yet. Not that Stratford's not going to be a test or anything like that, but you know what? You got a chance to keep on keeping on. What about tonight's performance?
I don't know, but I got to get one thing straight. Does veteran mean I'm old?
Well, yes, it does. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. I totally resemble that. Tight ball game, a gutty little White Knoll team that came over and really gave Sumter all they could handle in the first half. Sumter's defense, though, stopped them 2 times, one time at the 3-yard line, one time at the 1-yard line, 2 different drives, held them out of the end zone. That's how they got the safety, though, the 1-yard stoppage, put Sumter in the end zone. They tagged the quarterback in the camp in the end zone, made it 7-2 at halftime. But behind the 4 touchdown night of Zaire Gamble, he took the opening second half kickoff, went 80 yards, put it in the end zone, kicked the extra point, added on 2 more Zaire Gamble touchdowns on offense, his 4th of the night. And Sumter ended up winning 28-8. They gave up a touchdown when they were trying to switch some second and third string players in, and the official blew the whistle to start play, and Sumter wasn't ready. And they just threw to a wide open guy down the right sideline. Other than that, get their average of about 7 points a game.
Yeah. Their defense has been dynamic from the get-go this year, hasn't it?
It has. I think Zaire, Taylor's got 7 or 8 touchdown or interceptions. But I think there's a team, they've got about 15 or 16. I have to go back and check that, but they've done really well. They took away the running back, Frederick, who was Mr. Everything for White Knoll, and I don't think they ended up with about 24 or 34 yards rushing on the night.
Well, you got to figure they'll go as far as their defense can take them, right?
Yeah, and we got to cut the penalties out. We did have 18 penalties for 160 yards.
How many?
We had 160 yards.
No, how many? You said 18 penalties?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, my gosh. That's going to drive the coaches to drink a lot of coffee tonight.
Yep. Yeah, I think we're averaging about 11 per ball game.
Wow.
Don't come at bad times, but it's going to hurt you down the road. But, if they clean that up, we're a pretty good ball club anyway. But.
Well, Kevin, we thank you very much for the update, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, veteran Kevin signing on.
Vet Kev. All right, my man. We're all veterans on this show, except for Pat. Pat's he's a babe in the woods. We're the veterans. All right, thank you very much. Appreciate that. David Shelton with us, listening to these reports. So what about Sumter? Hadn't talked a heck of a lot about them for the most part, but they don't. They get to play Stratford next week. How you like that matchup? What about Sumter's defense? Is it good enough to carry an offense that's okay, but maybe not super?
Well, it could be good enough next week. I don't know after that, but Kevin was talking about Sumter's interception. They'll get a lot of opportunity next week because Stratford will throw it a lot, and so they'll have an opportunity to. And the thing I saw with Stratford tonight, they do throw a lot of 50-50 balls. They'll throw the ball deep and try to let their guys go up and get it, which they did tonight. But they may have to change a little bit against Sumter because Sumter's defense, they're going to put pressure on that quarterback. They're going to take away the run, but Sumter offensively has just been, as Kevin said, just been good enough. They haven't exploded on anybody really, and they're going to need, they need to. They got enough offense tonight, but as you move forward, it gets a little tougher.
All right. Let's go to our break, and we'll come back and continue to go over the scores and get David's analysis on some of these games and start looking ahead to second round action as well. We should be getting in some more reports, waiting on a call from either Chris Bergen or Chris Deering, one of them, on the details of the Dutch Fork win tonight over Socastee. We'll get that coming in. And maybe a little bit more, and perhaps talk to a coach or two as well, if we can reach them. You're listening to the High School Scoreboard, Founders Federal Credit Union. Back in a moment.
In Columbia, South Carolina, game days are our specialty. Whether you're watching the game from inside the stadium or from the big screen at your favorite local spot, the energy remains the same. Craft the perfect fall Saturday in a city where there is plenty of action on and off the field. From tubing and kayaking to Soda City to rooftop restaurants and plenty barbecue. We're ready when you are. Plan your weekend at experiencecolumbiasc.com.
Relax on and off the field with Founders Federal Credit Union. With services like Founders Online and the Founders app, you'll enjoy all the perks of a big bank with local personalized service. If you're looking for low rates, look to Founders. Not a member? Joining Founders Federal Credit Union is easy. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our more than 30 office locations to see if you qualify for membership. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
Hi, this is Phil Kornblut, and for me, high school football Friday nights in the Palmetto State are electric. And I want to know how all the teams in the state are doing. For that, I turn to scfootballstats.com. I've used scfootballstats.com for years as a resource, so I have all the scores and schedules right at my fingertips. And so can you. Never hunt for scores, standings, or rankings again. scfootballstats.com delivers weekly updates right to your inbox. Everything from your favorite teams, including Skiza, all in one place. Fan subscriptions are just $25 for a full season of access. Head over to scfootballstats.com right now for a free trial. That's scfootballstats.com.
Every day, you make choices that protect your family. At Farm Bureau Insurance, we're here to help make some of those choices easier. Your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent is on hand to provide the reassurance and protection you need. Call today for your free no-obligation review for auto, home, and life insurance that's custom-tailored just for you.
Call Buddy Bridges in Lawrence County at 864-923-2174, covering Lawrence, Clinton, Joanna, and the shores of Lake Greenwood.
South Carolina Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, Southern Farm Bureau Casualty Insurance Company, Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay, we're back. High school football scoreboard on it's a beautiful Friday night here in Tennessee. I was riding around a few minutes ago to go get a Diet Coke and listening to a local high school football game. It was quite a good ball game, 42-35. I was listening to this game, David, somewhere here in the Knoxville area, 35-35. The announcers were, of course, fantastic. They were homers. And they came down, it was coming down towards the end of the game, and I guess it was the visiting team, the team that the radio crew was not repping, and they got a pick six to take it back, and I guess it was a few seconds ago, I guess, to win the ball game. And I mean, the announcers just should have heard them screaming as the ball was going back the other way. I mean, it was just, and we got the same thing in South Carolina, but it's just so classic of high school football play-by-play. And they were, going a little crazy here in Tennessee. It was Farragut and Science Hill. Farragut and Science Hill, I think, were the teams that were playing. All right, high school scoreboard brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Phil Kornbluth, David Shelton, and Pat Daniel. Let's go to the 4A scoreboard. Catch you up to date. In the upper state, AC Flora over Indian Land, 34-10. Greenville 55, Walhalla 22. West Side beat Greer 24-21. Irmo 21, York 10. South Point 42, Richland Northeast 12. Lawrence 56, Easley 13, Greenwood 49, Pickens 3, and Catawba Ridge 28, Westwood 20. Let's talk about a couple of these, David. West Side getting that win over Greer. I was talking to Scott earlier in the week, and they won their region. He says it wasn't a particularly strong region, so that's got to be a good feeling for them to beat a nearby rival from another region in advance to the second round.
Yeah. I mean, they did win a very weak region, but they got a pretty good team. They got a good quarterback. Zamora is a good quarterback, and Puckett, I think, is his name, is a big running back. So they've got some things offensively that can cause some people some problems. So good win for them tonight, because Greer's not. You hate to go into the first round of playoffs and have to play a team like Greer.
Always dangerous, always dangerous. West Side will get Irmo next week. How about this one next week, though? Greenville and AC Flora, and Florida, the defending champions, and doing a lot of the same things they did last year to win it all. Greenville prolific with the passing game, a very talented team. That's going to be a great matchup next week.
Yeah, that is. We talked about on Sports Talk tonight. The first round games are kind of, for the most part, ho-hum. But in the second round, good teams start getting eliminated by really good teams. So that either one of those teams is capable of winning the upper state championship, and one of them's going to get knocked off. So that will be a game of interest next Friday.
Let's go to Lower State. Myrtle Beach, big winner over Midland Valley, 56-19. Aiken over Hilton Head, 25-8. North Augusta beat Bluffton, 31-12. Beaufort down South Florence, 30-14. South Aiken 28, Wilson 14. West Florence over James Island 38-15. North Myrtle Beach over May River 27-7, and Hartsville big over Airport 70-13. Anything from the Lower State stand out to you in particular?
Everything kind of went chalk. Beaufort beating South Florence. That's a good win. Again, that's another game, first round game, where a really good team was going to get eliminated, and that kind of, South Florence had a great season, but they kind of fell in that tiebreaker thing to third place, and that put them on the road in the first round. So North Myrtle Beach beating May River, very, very good win. May River was a region champion, and North Myrtle Beach is defending Lower State champion, but been kind of struggling a little bit in the regular season, but that's a good win for the Chiefs.
All right, we'll get back to more scores in a moment. Let's get back out into the fields. We welcome in our former standout intern, now has a job working in Williamsburg County for the Kingstree. You have to tell me the publication. It's Kingstree newspaper there in Williamsburg County, covering Williamsburg Academy tonight. Brandon Alter with the story of the Williamsburg Academy win over Hilton Head Prep, 49-16. Hello, Brandon.
Hey, Phil. It's the Kingstree News. We're owned by the Post and Courier, so good to be part of that company. First job,
Yes.
Couldn't have asked for a better company to be a part of.
Absolutely. And you know what? And Mom and Dad are just happy that you're off the payroll.
Yeah, they are. And I'm happy to be 8 hours away.
Sure, it's mutual. All right, what happened in your game tonight?
Well, the Stallions started on defense, something they love to do. And after failing to stop Hilton Head Prep on 4th and inches inside their own 20, on the next play, they forced a fumble and started just outside the red zone. Caleb Klein, star running back for the Stallions, would punch it in from 2 yards out to open the scoring, his first of 3 rushing touchdowns on the day, to give the Stallions a 6-0 lead after the extra point was blocked. It was the first of 21 unanswered points for the Stallions. Hilton Head Prep would show a little bit of fight as they came back to make the score 28-9. Then quarterback Conrad Balder for the Stallions faked a screen and dashed 77 yards to the end zone late in the first half to put the Stallions up 35-9, and they never looked back on the way to the 49-16 win. They'll host Buford Academy next week with a chance to go to the 2A state championship game on the line.
Yeah, I tell you what, the way the SCISA playoffs are, doesn't take you long to get to the state championship game. Overall, what kind of year has Williamsburg had?
They've had a historic year. They're undefeated, and for me, every game I've been to, they've had running clock at some point. This time they had a running clock in the fourth quarter. The first game I was at, they had a running clock for 3 quarters. So their defense isn't real strong for them, and their offense not too far behind.
Sounds good. And they've got, as you mentioned, Buford Academy next week?
That's correct. And you can read the story from tonight and the future story for next week at the Kingstree News. And you can follow me on Twitter at Brandon__Alter.
Oh, we follow you. We follow you everywhere. We know exactly what you're doing all the time.
That's a little creepy, Phil.
Thank you, Brandon. We appreciate it. Great job. We'll talk to you next week. Okay. All right, Brandon Alter, former intern of Sports Talk, now out in the world, paying taxes, David. That's what we do at Sports Talk. We bring them in, we rough them up, we love them up a little bit, we get them out in the world, make them pay taxes.
Molding is what I like to call it. You mold them.
That's a good way to put it. That's
Yeah,
a good
I
way to
know.
put it. Yeah, brief for a
I'm
few
a
words.
wordsmith.
Yeah, brevity is a good talent to have. I don't have brevity. I'm searching for brevity.
No, you do.
Let's-
You definitely don't have that.
Hey, they pay me by the word. Let's go to 3A, where we've got Chapman over Blue Ridge 63-35. Chester over Belton Honeypath 42-28. We had some good games in 3A. Powdersville over Broome 45-44. Wren topped Fairfield Central 45-13. Daniel blasted Keenan 52-6. Woodruff, likewise, the South Side 55-7. Lower Richland, a slip past Seneca 27-21. And Clinton rolled over Palmetto 77-14. So Chapman and Chester next week. Powdersville, Wren. It'll be Daniel Woodruff and Clinton, Lower Richland, and Clinton having to travel. So what do you make of the upper state in 3A? Make that
Pretty much
4 in
everybody.
3A. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, everybody won that was supposed to win, and you know it's gonna get down to the nitty gritty now. And you got Chapman, you got Lower Richland, you got Clinton, you got Woodruff, you got Daniel, who is a defending state champion and doesn't appear to be going anywhere. So yeah, it's gonna start getting real interesting starting next week.
In the lower state, now Brooklyn Casey 33-0 over Waccamaw. Hanahan edged Lakewood 31-28. Camden big over Bishop England 56-0. Ainer slipped past Orangeburg Wilkinson 16-14. It was Dillon 32, Fox Creek 0. Crestwood 47, Battery Creek 10, Oceanside 31, Lake City 0. And as you suggested, Loris was no contest with Gilbert 53-13. You said on Sports Talk that probably wouldn't be a close game. I just picked Loris out of a hat about playing Gilbert and thinking it might be tight. Everything still go through Dillon in the lower state?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think Camden and Oceanside are pretty good. I think Gilbert and Oceanside play next week.
Yes.
Again, that's going to be a really good team eliminated. That's going to be a heck of a matchup for Oceanside and Gilbert for sure.
You got BC
And
Hanahan.
then the winner of that would go to Dillon.
Yeah. You got BC
Assuming
Hanahan.
Dillon wins.
You got BC Hanahan. You got Camden Ainer. You've got Dillon and Crestwood, and you've got Oceanside and Gilbert playing next week.
Yeah. I think the winner of that Oceanside Gilbert would go to Dillon, and then the rubber meets the road. That's what we're going to find out.
All right, break is coming up here at the bottom of the hour here on the high school football scoreboard brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. We'll continue to go through the scores and get David's take on results tonight and what we're looking at next week. May get a couple of more reports in and perhaps a coach or two in our final half hour. So you stay with us as we continue to midnight on the air live across the state. Back in a moment.
In the middle of the Atlantic Ocean when it happened. There was a sudden jolt, and our submarine crashed on the seafloor. We were in total darkness.
That's Dr. Dejana Figueroa, a marine biologist and STEM teacher, talking about a deep sea dive she'll never forget.
It's funny, when I was a kid, I was afraid of the ocean, and there I was, 2 miles below the surface. But as a scientist, you prepare for that. Using our training and a little creativity, we fixed the sub and finished our experiments. The dive was just too important. Every dive gives us glimpses at things few people ever get to see. Glowing creatures, fiery undersea volcanoes. When we got back to the surface, I kissed the ground and called my mom, of course. But you know what? I wouldn't trade that dive for anything.
Dr. Figueroa uses her passion for STEM to discover new things and make the world a better place. She can STEM, so can you. Check out She Can STEM for more stories and inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters. A former athletics official at the University of Southern California has pleaded guilty to her role in the college admissions bribery scandal. The Boston Globe reports that Donna Heinel made her plea Friday in U.S. District Court in Boston to 1 count of honest services wire fraud. She is the California school's former senior associate athletic director. Court documents show that prosecutors agreed to drop several other charges in exchange for her guilty plea. An indictment accused Heinel of taking bribes to designate students as recruited athletes, even though they weren't qualified. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 203 points, the Nasdaq rose 31, the S&P advanced 17, oil up $2.39 to $81.39. More at srnnews.com.
Oh man, storm's coming. I need to be prepared. Where's my phone? Oh, there it is. All right, here's the Dominion Energy app with Face ID, and I am ready to go. That's right, folks. If those South Carolina storms hit, the new Dominion Energy mobile app is a must-have. So easy to use and convenient to have around. It's not just for power outages. With this app, you have instant access to all of your energy usage, too. Pretty cool stuff. Take it from me. Be prepared this season and download it today. For many years, I've bragged about the great work Stone Interiors does in the home. And brag's the right word, because before I endorsed Stone Interiors, I was a customer first. That means I've been through the same process you can go through. Lainey and I visited the showroom. We were in awe of the selection as we wanted a unique granite look for our kitchen. We got that for our countertops. We found something special. The team at Stone Interiors put the plan in motion. They came out, they installed the granite that we've been loving and beaming about ever since. When folks visit our home, inevitably, we end up in the kitchen talking and someone comments about the granite, from its look to its texture. So is it time to enjoy some new granite, marble, or quartz? Do you need a beautiful new backsplash in the kitchen? What about a new fireplace or an outdoor kitchen? Stone Interiors has taken great care of folks in the Midlands for 20 years. They're locally owned and operated. That's essential. You can visit the showroom, do a virtual appointment if you want, whatever you're comfy with. Visit stoneinteriors.com or give them a call, 461-8950. And, of course, tell them you heard about it from The Point.
Have you fallen behind on your taxes and might be facing IRS penalties? Have wage garnishments, levies, or liens? Have unfiled tax returns? You want someone local and qualified. Don't fall for those national spots. Meet with me, Teresa, at Capital City Professional Services, and let me help you through your tax maze. I can help with all your tax resolution issues. There are options to get you back on track. Call Capital City Professional Services, 400-8683. That's 400-8683.
And paid for by Complete Car Care.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to the COVID crisis, we are announcing a low-cost extended service plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay nothing for auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay nothing for auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-549-1985 now. Drivers who are covered by this auto protection will not have to pay for a covered repair bill again. This auto coverage is at an all-time low, much lower than what dealerships are charging. Additionally, drivers who activate this auto coverage today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and free rental car at no additional cost. Call for your free quick quote today. 800-549-1985. 800-549-1985. What do you have to lose? Again, 800-549-1985.
Back on the high school football scoreboard. Here on this Friday night, first night of the high school playoffs. Phil Kornbluth, David Shelton, and Pat Daniel. Lou Bezjak from the state coming up in just a moment with details on that AC Flora. Make that the Spring Valley game tonight. Good game, Spring Valley beating Nation Ford. But we have waiting on the line one of the happy coaches in our state tonight. They're happy because they won games. One of those is Coach Scott Early from West Side up in Anderson, and he joins us. His team a winner tonight in the 4A playoffs by a score of 24-21 over Greer. Good ball game to the wire. Coach, congratulations. Was it a well-played game both ways in your eyes? Do we have Coach?
Phil, apologies. I was on the phone with another coach. If you wouldn't mind repeating who you'd like me to bring in, we'll bring them right in now.
I thought you were going to Coach Early. Coach Scott Early.
Let's go, Coach Early.
Okay. Coach, again, thank you for being with us. And 24-21, your team over Greer. And my question was it a well-played game both ways in your eyes?
It was not a well-played game on our part. We had, over 400 yards total offense, had a fumble in the end zone going in, had an interception in the end zone going in, allowed a kick to get run back. But the positive side is we battled through all that. In the postseason, you always have one of those close calls. And I feel like tonight that was a close call, but I was proud of the resiliency that our kids had, attitude and effort they put forward, and they just never give up through a lot of adversity. And when you win a game like that in the postseason, it sometimes springboards you to something else.
Absolutely. What about the way your team has kind of come on here? You played a tough non-region schedule. You got into region play. You won the region. Now you've won a first-round playoff game. You see this team week by week getting better and moving to where you hope it would get to.
Absolutely. But when you start 9 sophomores and 2 freshmen, you expect them to grow up in 2022, not in 2021. And for the most part, they've done that through, all the, the COVID injuries, the tough non-region schedule. I just think we got a playoff team, and whatever happens, we return a playoff team. So I think it's a positive. We won a game tonight that a veteran team only would have won, and our young kids just never flinched and just kept playing the next play, no matter what happened.
Did the game come down to a last-minute touchdown score on your end, or did you have the lead and have to hang on at the end?
It came out to a winning touchdown on our part, and then Greer went back on the field. Our defense played really well tonight. They got a stop, and then we just end up when we take a knee. So it was a typical Greer West Side game, and Greer plays in in my opinion, the best 4A region from top to bottom in the state. And Greer didn't play like a 4 seed. Now they play like a 1 seed.
Yeah. How'd your quarterback play?
I don't know. I hadn't seen the stats. He did a great job. The big mistake was we had a sprint out down there, and you just run and get the first down. But he tried to make a throw, which was intercepting the end zone. And the rest of the night, he was flawless in the read run game and flawless in the pass game.
Mm-hmm. David Shelton, you have a question for Coach Early?
Hey, give me 1 second. We actually lost David. I'm bringing him back in now with us. So, David, if you can hear me, we're bringing you live immediately.
Okay. Live radio, things happen. A lot of moving parts in this. Well, you're a veteran broadcaster, Coach. You know how the moving parts are in radio.
I just wish you would have addressed me that in the beginning instead of Coach Early. You addressed me as, "Hey, we're fixing to talk to the best sideline reporter in the country." He's way better than Shelton because he ain't even on the radio right now. And when he retires, I'm gonna hire him.
Listen, the people of South Carolina are counting down the days until they hear you on the sideline of the Touchstone Energy Bowl, directing the game and doing your sideline commentary at the same time. It's pretty cool.
No, but I'm looking forward to moving to the press box and actually sitting beside you and being able to do some real color commentary and not have to depend on bad badges.
You'll have to assassinate Coach Luckadoo first for that to happen.
Well, he's getting old, Phil. He's getting old.
Well, we all are. We all are. David, you have a question for Coach Early?
Well, I got disconnected and just got back on the line, so I don't know what y'all talked about, but I wanted to ask Scott, and if you already asked this, then say it again, Scott, but your region was not a great region in terms of just the quality depth, but you won the region, and now you know the playoff competition is much better. Were you a little worried that, opening with a team like Greer was going to be a concern for your team?
Well, first of all, David, I'd like to compliment you on that. Was politically correct and well said about our region because, Region 4 is the SEC, and we're the I don't know what we are. But anyway, I understand what you're saying, but that's why we scheduled that tough non-region schedule.
Right.
With Bernard, Hannah, all those people. And I thought, to be the best, you got to beat the best. And I thought we might have a late blooming team. I knew we got in the region, we could run the table. And then I thought these experiences we've been through with this tough non-region schedule might propel a team that's probably a year away to arrive now. And tonight, if it's not a poised group of kids that love one another and give great attitude and great effort, we have no chance to win this game with the turnovers we had in the first half and the penalties and mistakes we made. But these kids just kept fighting, and I think they're a special group, and I think this is a close playoff call that might help us later on down the road.
Absolutely. You got to win games like this. If you're going to do something special, you got to have a game like this. And talk about your quarterback. I follow him on Twitter. Seems like a great guy, and he's having a great season. He was hurt or had COVID earlier in the year. I know he missed some games, didn't he?
Yeah, he had COVID and missed some games and was hurt and missed some games. But, I told somebody today, if Pete Zamora never throws another football, he's one of the greatest human beings, one of the most humble, spiritual, great locker room kids, great leader. And tonight he went through some tough times, but still won it in the end.
Before we let you go, you've got Irmo next week in round 2. Early impressions of those Yellow Jackets. You go from the Greer Yellow Jackets to the Irmo Yellow Jackets. What do you expect to see from Irmo?
Phil, if I was allergic to bees, I'd have to get out of coaching. But it's what's neat about this is Greer. We had a rematch week 3. We go to Greer with 26 kids and a coach in the hospital and lose 28-25. Took care of the rematch tonight. Last year in the first round of playoffs, Irmo puts us out. So I don't know it. I'm not a believer in karma or poetic justice, but I think it's a good matchup. And Irmo's a great football team, plays in a Columbia region, and I think we're a good football team that plays in Region 1. So I think it's a good second round matchup for both teams, and look forward to preparing for a good Irmo team.
Well, we thank you as always. Congratulations on the win, and protect that voice. It's got to come in handy in a couple more weeks. So we'll talk to you perhaps next week if things go well.
I'm a little hoarse, and David, don't feel bad because when I work for Phil, he loses me sometimes too. So I can sympathize with you.
Yeah, I understand.
Batteries go dead.
Thank y'all for all you do for high school football. Appreciate you.
Thank you. We never have enough batteries with Coach Early on the sideline of the broadcast. Let's go to another coach who, you know what? He had a nice, relaxing Friday night because his team won last night. Coach Steve LaPrade from Fort Dorchester in 5A. That's that team in the Low Country that, you got Dutch Fork. Of course, they're going to, if they continue to win, they'll meet in the semifinals. Boy, that'll be a heck of a matchup. But first things first, Coach, thanks for joining us. Congratulations on your win over Berkeley last night. How'd you feel about the way your team played?
Well, appreciate you having me on, Phil. Yeah, we started off sluggish. I guess that's a coaching mistake. But a lot of times our guys, if Berkeley's kind of struggled this year. They hadn't had a great year, so we kind of came out slow and didn't really get with it. And then later we kind of second half we kind of got after it a little bit. It's been kind of a weird year. I guess sometimes the expectations are so high. Um, we'll sometimes you're mad after the game. You look back and you got 500 yards offense. You hadn't scored enough points, so um, we got to do a better job, I guess.
Never satisfied. We get that.
I
We
know,
get
I
that.
know. I just lately I've been like, we just not putting the ball in the end zone. We got to score more points. I guess is the simple answer here. Yeah.
Well, you got Chapin next week. They have a dynamic quarterback, big time offense. They scored 50 tonight, and
Yep.
are y'all allowed? I mean, you didn't have to play tonight. Could y'all go scout them? Were y'all allowed to do that? Did you have anybody do that?
Yeah, we were. I mean, I didn't do it for that reason. I know a lot of people said, LeBron just did that so he could go scout. That wasn't the reason. We have a chance, depending on what happens. We got to win some ball games, but we have an opportunity to play at home for 4 weeks. Obviously, we don't have turf, and everybody's grass is getting a little thin right now. So it looked like it was going to rain and be cold and everything else blustery. So I talked to Jerry Brown. I said, "Hey, would you be opposed to playing on Thursday?" I said, "The weather looks better. It's going to be cold. It's going to be wet. The field's going to get tore up. If we get lucky enough, we're fortunate enough to win. That's just going to obviously our field just be torn to pieces." So he was good with it. He was fine. So that's really why we did it. It was more weather related. I know that sounds like being a sissy because I know you're supposed to play football and anything, but that was that was the reason. It wasn't so I could go scout, but I did go watch them, and Chapin does look very good.
What impressed you? The quarterback impress you?
Yeah, he's a great player. Offensively, they're just, they're good. They're explosive. I don't know if you know, I'm kind of coaching the head coach of the Senior Bowl. I know the Shriners are kind of having some problems or whatever, so
Yeah.
they're gonna have a Senior Bowl this year. So, the Galloway kid, the running back, was one we were very, very interested in, and he looked really good tonight. Quarterback, great athlete, great passer. Got some really good receivers. They're big up front. They're very, very good on offense, and defensively they're good too. Now Carolina Forest had a lot of guys out. We played them earlier in the year. They had some guys out when we played them too. I think we scored 58 on them, but they had a bunch. They had some COVID issues and everything else, and I know they said their quarterback got hurt last week, so they had a receiver in there trying to play quarterback tonight. They really, really struggled. It didn't even look like the same Carolina Forest team.
Yeah. David, you got a quick question for the coach?
Well, I just, talking to you last night after the game, I know you weren't real pleased with the way your team opened the game, but you made the comment, no matter who you're playing next week, the playoff, you're supposed to play like a playoff team in the playoffs, and that was something you said, and do you think that maybe getting into the second round now, your kids will be excited? They're playing somebody they haven't played before. That adds a little juice to it.
I think, and you're right. And if we play Friday like we played last night, we won't be successful. We kind of divided our season up into 3 seasons. It was the outer region season, which, we went out and tried to play some good teams. We played Dorman. We played Carolina Forest. We played Myrtle Beach. So we tried to go out and play some others to strengthen. Some of the teams we played weren't really strong this year, so we tried to strengthen the schedule so it would help us in the playoffs. That was probably the better football that we played this year. Region play, we did good. We kind of went through the region, but we didn't look super great at times. So I think maybe, we're ready for, not that we haven't had challenges now, God forbid. We've had plenty of those. But I think our kids will play a little better this week, because it is for the real money. The next 3 or 4 weeks, however long we go. So I think we'll play a little better. Hopefully so. Like I said, I've been upset lately, and I go back and I look, we got 450, 550 yards offense and we score 30-some points and I'm mad. Well, that's being a stupid coach. So I just, it's all about that W. So, but we got to start putting the ball in the end zone a little bit more. And I think if we do that, we'll have a decent job, decent chance of being successful.
Coach, we thank you as always. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll catch you next week. If things work out for you, we'll get you back on again. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, sounds good. I appreciate what you guys do, Phil. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, we thank you, sir. We thank you for coming on as always. Steve LaPrade, one of the great coaches in the state with a great program. And will they get to meet up with Dutch Fork at some point? That will be one heck of a ball game if it happens. And we'll be back after the break.
Hi, I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus, and I've got a great gift idea that requires zero shopping, the gift of college savings. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan makes it easy. Grandparents, friends, and family can all contribute to a Future Scholar account and know that they're providing a gift that will last a lifetime. If you're looking for the perfect gift this holiday season, look no further. Learn more about the smart, easy way to save and give this holiday season at futurescholar.com.
Hi, this is Phil Kornblut, and for me, high school football Friday nights in the Palmetto State are electric. And I want to know how all the teams in the state are doing. For that, I turn to scfootballstats.com. I've used scfootballstats.com for years as a resource, so I have all the scores and schedules right at my fingertips. And so can you. Never hunt for scores, standings, or rankings again. scfootballstats.com delivers weekly updates right to your inbox. Everything from your favorite teams, including Skiza, all in one place. Fan subscriptions are just $25 for a full season of access. Head over to scfootballstats.com right now for a free trial. That's scfootballstats.com.
Relax on and off the field with Founders Federal Credit Union. With services like Founders Online and the Founders app, you'll enjoy all the perks of a big bank with local personalized service. If you're looking for low rates, look to Founders. Not a member? Joining Founders Federal Credit Union is easy. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our more than 30 office locations to see if you qualify for membership. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
The Southeastern Institute of Manufacturing and Technology, known as SIMT, is ready to meet your 3D printing, machining, and social media listening needs. Our list of clients includes business and industrial partners from around the state, the nation, and the globe. In addition, we are providing social media listening services to a variety of businesses and educational institutions, from large companies to law firms to small rural school districts. The SIMT also rents space for training, conferences, and trade shows. Catering services are available for events being held at the SIMT. We are dedicated to customer service and look forward to serving you. Check us out on the web at simt.com to see a full list of our manufacturing services, or give us a call at 843-413-2740.
All right, we are up in Knoxville, Tennessee, actually, on our way to Louisville. So that's appropriate bumper music there. Quickly, let's get to our last two reports of the night. Time is short, and so are these guys, not in terms of stature, but in terms of reports, I hope. Lou Bezjak from the state. Spring Valley, a winner over Nation Ford tonight, Lou, 32-24. Vikings having a good year and continued it tonight.
Yeah, it was a close game. They had some opportunities to put it away, but DQ Smith had a big game tonight for Spring Valley. Quarterback had four touchdown runs, and Evan James had a TD run late, and Nation Ford had a chance to tie it, about 3 minutes left, but they had to turn it over and down. They had a great game from their quarterback, Carson Black. He threw for 300 yards tonight, 1 touchdown. So it was a fun game to watch. Two high-level quarterbacks to watch, and USC defensive backs coach Corinne Gray was here to see DQ tonight. So it was a good win for Spring Valley, and they'll move on and get to Spartanburg next week.
Yeah, Vikings on Vikings. How do the Columbia Vikings feel about the matchup from what you heard from them after the game?
Yeah, I think Coach Bacon, he's like, if we can cut the mistakes down, he thinks they can play with anyone in that upper state bracket. And it should be another good matchup. They're going to face another tough quarterback in Jeter, and a lot of weapons they have at Spartanburg. So we'll see. I think Spring Valley needs to cut a little bit down the penalties. If they could run the ball like they did tonight, I think they had over 220, 230 yards rushing, and were able to put the game away on that final drive.
Okay, Lou, thank you for holding on through all that, and thank you for the report. Have a great weekend. Good luck to your Browns, and we'll talk to you next week.
You mean Steelers, but yeah.
I thought you were a Browns fan. I always get something wrong.
Heck no.
Steelers. Good luck to your Steelers. Thank you, sir.
All right, man. Thanks, Bill.
Have a great one. Lou Bezjak. Let's go to Chris Bergen, co-host of Sports Talk, and the voice of Sockasty this year, but that came to an end tonight. You know, I like to say when Latta gets rolled over that the game went right to the wire. Like tonight, Latta took Sherrall to the wire, 43-0. I don't know. You want to say that Sockasty took Dutch Fork to the wire, 56-0?
No, it was not that close, Phil. And first off, I cannot believe you insulted a Steelers fan like Lou and called him a Browns fan.
I get
That's
him
like
confused.
calling you a Vikings fan, man. Come on.
I know. I feel terrible. I see his tweets, but I thought he tweeted about the Browns sometimes. That's what confused me.
No, big time Steelers fan. And by the way, do not paint us all in the high school broadcasting profession with that broad brush of we, us, them, and they homers like you heard tonight from Tennessee. And by the way, speaking of that, Science Hill, Steve Spurrier's high school, correct?
That's right. That's right. And I think it was
Yeah.
Science Hill. They were called the Hilltoppers, so I think it was Science Hill playing Farragut.
But anyway, the game I saw tonight, I had not seen Dutch Fork play in person. I was excited about that from an opportunity to see one of the best, if not the best teams in the state, and they lived up to the billing. This was a game, if you've ever wondered if time of possession actually matters in football, it does not. Sockasty outpossessed Dutch Fork tonight 2-1, 32 minutes to 15, almost 16 minutes. Yet Dutch Fork rolled up nearly 500 yards on 40 plays tonight. They win easily 56-0. And they advance on into the second round of the 5A state playoffs. Antonio Williams, if you want to know why everybody's looking at him, including South Carolina and Georgia, that young man can do it all. He led them in receptions with 5 for 131 yards and a touchdown. He also ran 2 kicks back for a score, one counted of 62 yards. The other one did not count as it was nullified by a penalty. Did not seem to matter too much to Dutch Fork, though. They scored on virtually every possession they had. Running clock most of the second half, cut down on some of the statistics. Sockasty was held to a grand total of 112 yards of total offense and just really outmanned by an awfully good Dutch Fork team. And it is going to take a tremendous effort by somebody in 5A to prevent these guys from winning their 6th straight state championship.
58 in a row, unbeaten. Chris, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the trip to Georgia Southern.
Thank you, pal. You do the same, and we will talk to you guys on Monday.
Thank you, my man. Let me give you the rest of these scores we haven't gotten to. In 2A, Upper State, Abbeville 41, Blacksburg nothing. Saluda 38, Andrew Jackson 14, Gray Collegiate 56, North Central nothing. Crescent 68, Chesney 35, St. Joseph 62, 96-21. Christ Church 38, Batesburg Leesville 7, Chesterfield 40, Columbia nothing, and Newberry 43, Landrum 7. Lower State, Central 20, Lee Central 13, Sherrall 43, Latta nothing, Timberland 39, Hillian nothing, Barnwell 51, Marion 40, Woodland 38, Andrews 6, Philip Simmons 41, Mullins 6, Wade Hampton of Hampton 20, Lake Marion 14. 1A Upper State, Southside Christian 48, Williston Elko nothing, C.A. Johnson 39, Wagner Sally 8, McBee 62, Ware Shoals 14, Ridge Spring Manetta 48, Whitmire nothing, Great Falls 28, Dixie 21, Lamar 30, Blackville Hilda 18, McCormick 54, Denmark Oler 24, Lower State, C.E. Murray 50, Cross 24, Branchville 43, Johnsonville 42, Lakeview 46, Estill 6, Well Branch 19, East Clarendon nothing, Bamberg Earhart 26, Hannah-Pamplico 22, Carvers Bay 55, St. John's 22, Baptist Hill 56, Scotts Branch 20, Green Sea Floyd's 33, Allendale Fairfax 16. Skeeza 3A, Hammond 31, First Baptist nothing. Porter-Gaud 31, Heathwood Hall 17. Trinity Collegiate 57, Ben Lippen 42, and Augusta Christian 46, Lawrence Manning 20. All the scores will be up on our website, sportstalksc.com. Thank you, David Shelton, for great stuff. Thank you, Pat Daniel, for your great work. And thanks to all of you for being with us tonight. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. Round 2, playoffs on the high school scoreboard, brought to you by Founders.
Only afternoon local talk radio in Columbia is the Afternoon Drive with Kev. It's all about you. It's your phone calls. It's my challenging topics. All the news, traffic, and weather weekdays, 4 p.m. on